Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. Good to see you, magical friend. You get fairy dust, I get fairy dust. Amelie's got a bone, so she's not over here with us. She has her priorities. Welcome to another episode of my eating disorder story, my eating disorder recovery story. Last I left you, I had gone to 3 different treatments. And now I'm going to tell you about another lightning bolt moment for me. Lightning bolt, habits change in lots of ways. Like we get habits in lots of different ways, but sometimes we're blessed with a lightning bolt moment. We find out a piece of information. We have an incredible insight. Read a book. We hear someone else's experience, and then from that moment forward, we just do it differently. So I'm going to describe I've had this happen to me several times. I have made my habits in several different ways, but this was a lightning bolt one for me. So my children were 6 and 7, 7 and 8, 8 and 9. So while I was in all those treatments and going to meetings almost every day, and I felt like I wanted to tell them where mommy was going. And so I made a decision to, with the support of therapists, whatever, that I was going to tell them about my food issues in an age appropriate way. Let's just say there were crayons and papers involved. So I told them, and so they knew, and it went fine. They knew, and I'm like, mommy's gonna go to her meeting now, and da 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 da. So that was common language. So we were on a trip to Disney. From North Carolina, I think. Yeah, from North Carolina to Florida. So it was a road trip. And so we were going to go to this my husband was going to a convention. It was this really cool convention. He works in the theme park industry, so it was a theme park convention. We had these kids, and so you go to the convention, and there's all this cool shit to do for free. It's just very, very cool. And you see the new rides that are coming out and new, there's tons of food there. Also, like there's so much junk food that you would see in an amusement park. Healthy food at an amusement park was not popular at that time. Wasn't a thing. You could barely get fruit at an amusement park. So we went down, and on that trip, it was revealed that I had relapsed. And so my husband was freaking the fuck out, was very scared. Now, you have to understand, like, he's terrified of losing me. He thinks I'm going to die. By that time, I had already heard of people dying from this. With bulimia, we all have our different ways that we could die, but from bulimia, there's the whole electrolyte imbalance, and people have heart attacks, and so he was terrified. And he did something that I was very, very angry about. And he, out loud in the car, voiced his fears. I'm scared. I don't want to lose you. This isn't right for you to do this to our family, et cetera, et cetera. He was like losing his shit. And so, you have to understand vacations are loaded. And I don't think that it would have happened in front of the kids if we were at home or whatever. I think he had just reached his limit and didn't give a fuck that the kids were in the back of the car. So I was so angry. It's so funny though, like so angry at him for saying that shit in front of the kids. And how dare he, and don't scare the kids. And except I'm not saying, like, maybe I should stop using so he wouldn't do this. So I'm not saying what he did was right, and I'm not saying what he did was wrong. I'm just saying that it happened. And, as parents, we make mistakes. And so if you think of that as a mistake and wrong, then I'm not going to disagree with you. I just know that it happened. And so when we got to the hotel, I was so angry at him. I mean, I think it was like silent treatment from then on out. And I'm like, to the kids, it didn't seem like they were listening at the time. I don't know. I don't remember what happened in the car after that. But I know I was pretty mad at him. And then we got to the hotel, unpacked. I'm still mad, obviously. And I go out on the balcony. So the balcony of this hotel is a site of an intervention. Okay. So he comes out and he said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But at the same time, I'm not going to apologize for loving you so much and being terrified. And I need you to do whatever it takes to fix this. I don't want to lose you. I'm scared of losing you." And so, okay, I get it. This man is telling me he loves me, and I could see the fear in his eyes. It wasn't a power and control issue. Like, he's truly, truly scared. And, so my anger at him and melted. And I think I also probably started to put back some of the responsibility on me that, if I hadn't done that, I mean, I'm still using, and I was so excited about using at this whole thing. Like, it was going to be a binge fest for me at this place. So mind you, I'm frustrated at myself that I outed myself. And now he's going to be looking to see if I'm going to be overeating and shit at this convention. Again, endless free food. That's all sugar, basically. Like, how dumb am I that I would give myself away? That's what I was mad about myself. So I started taking back some of the responsibility, and also freaking out. Like, I don't know how to do a vacation without binging and purging. Like, how do you even do that? Like, I don't even know. So I was having a hard time. And so he comes out and he says that. And then I'm like, I hear you. And then I made a decision that I'm okay, I'm going to get this under control. Knowing me, I'm probably thinking the end of the sentence, which is when I get back home, because I really didn't know. I didn't have this full skills yet to figure out how to cope without purging. So he goes back in, and then my daughter comes out. And she said, "Mommy, is that true? Is that true that you're gonna, he probably said something like, I don't remember, like, I don't want you to die or some shit like that. You know what I mean? In the car. And so, like, "Mommy, are you sick? Like, Mommy, are you gonna?" And I knew in that moment I was gonna stop purging. I was gonna stop binging and purging is my idea, but turns out it was just the purging that I stopped. But it woke me up. It woke my ass up. Mommy. I'm like, "Baby, you don't need to worry about that. Baby, I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen again." And so we were all able to pull it back together. She was scared, and it was humiliating for me and humbling, and I'm ashamed to tell you this. It was just, and you can see now how it was a lightning bolt moment. So my intervention, my unplanned, and they unplanned it, intervention was my husband saying the things that he said to me, being so scared, and again, seeing it on his face, his genuineness, and then my daughter coming out. She must have been 7, 8, or 9, like, I can't remember, but, Mommy, it's hard to remember. Poor thing. So anyway, I didn't use for 10 years after that. Let me rephrase that. I didn't purge for 10 years after that. 10 years. I actually thought I was cured. I actually thought I was cured. So, I knew shortly after that it wasn't the cure that I was looking for, because I was still completely obsessed with food and just figuring out how not to eat it. And, because when I don't purge, I gain weight. And so, and you have to understand, it's not about, I didn't want to be overweight, or, I mean, I didn't, but the standards in the 90s, the beauty standards, and also my self-hate was so wrapped around in my weight. I hadn't, separated the two yet. So, please, if this is a trigger about like me wanting to be skinny or whatever, like I apologize. I'm just letting you know the way things are connected in my brain. It is not, again, I wish that I had all the exposure to all the beautiful women of all sizes, but I didn't. And no bueno in the 90s. So it was a constant gain 5 pounds, lose 5 pounds, gain 10 pounds, lose 10 pounds. Like for those 10 years, that's what it was all about. Never free from food addiction, never free. There were also some binges in there. And then the cycle of like, okay, how do I, over exercising, which is a kind of bulimia, but I'm a freeze mode person, so I don't easily exercise. So it wasn't to the point of like, I'm going to run 10 miles because I binged today. That's not how my eating disorder works. But 10 years, I didn't, misspeaking, because overeating for me was using, obsessing over food was using. But I didn't purge. I did not purge for 10 years. And I'm very, very proud of that. And what that did for me was also help me in therapy go deeper, because I wasn't always on the cyclical relapse cycle. I wasn't constantly binging and purging and then not doing it, and then trying not to do it, and then giving in. Like, I wasn't doing that. So that setting that aside helped me actually do some trauma work. And it was crucial. It was a crucial step. What that I didn't know was that it wasn't permanent. You now know that it was 10 years. But those 10 years were actually very, very, very crucial. So now we're fast forwarding up to the not too recent past. So the other thing I just want to say is, during this time of, I guess, to my 40s, to my late 30s, that's where we are in the story of getting those 10 years. In that gap of that lightning bolt intervention that I got, unplanned intervention I got from my family, and now, and to the day that I purged 10 years later, which I'll talk about next time, there was an endless cycle of diets. Of course, as somebody who went to a 12-step program, I would call them food plans, but they were still diets. And so maybe if I go in this plan. So again, it was always still using behaviors. Still, let me try this one, and guess what, it fails because I'm a food addict. Oh, let me try this one, guess what, it failed it because I was a food addict. So endless, just endless. Each one of those food plans, which were diets, was another like high. Oh, now I'm going to do it. And then the night before, still overeating, or still, eating the food that was going to be taken away from this particular plan. So, so many diets, so many plans, and it's just more crazy making. So, that is, I've told this story before, Pia, in therapy tons. I may or may not have in meetings, but I definitely did to my 5th step sponsor, who would hear my moral inventory, because those were hard things to say. So hopefully you don't think less of me. But if you do, that's also okay. That's also okay. I promise I was always trying my best. And I really wanted to be a good mother. And that is something I'm extremely proud of, that I did change my behavior because of the fear in my family's faces. So my son was completely oblivious. My son, who's 14 months younger than my daughter, completely oblivious. So, so yeah, and as what we know about family addictions, like his obliviousness wasn't actually obliviousness, but he wasn't part of that particular intervention. But he's part of the intervention in my heart of why I want to stay sober every day to this day still. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. We're just a little bit closer. You know more about me and about my story. So love you. Hope that was helpful. Amelie says hi. Do you need to go outside? Okay, let's take her outside. All right. Love you. Love you. Bye.